Ladies and gentlemen, it's a broken orbital floor sander. This one's by Verathane, but I think you can get exactly the same one under the brand Rust-Oleum. This one's broken and it belongs to my local hardware store. What's happening here is I need to sand the curly maple hardwood floors in my crappy 100-year-old house without air conditioning that I bought, and hope I don't have to live in forever. And although my financial situation does allow me to rent a floor sander, that's only if I save up first. So what my wife did, because she likes to plan all of our finances in advance, was go down to the hardware store and see what it would cost to rent a floor sander. They said they don't do that anymore, they only have one left and that one is broken. They intended to throw it away. She said, wait a minute, my husband's Tony Shalda and he can fix anything. If he fixes it, how much would it cost to rent that floor sander? They said nothing, you can just use it if he fixes it. So that's my wife writing checks that I now have to cash. Luckily, it's just a floor sander. I'm very familiar with these types of machines. All of these types of machines are parts bin machines. That means no piece of this machine is specifically built for this machine. That electric motor is used a lot of different places. Even the body of the unit is most likely the face of a different type of electric motor or pump housing. Nothing here is built just for this. That vacuum is used everywhere. Those switches are Carlin switches that you can buy at any parts store. There's nothing here that you can't get. The trick to finding replacement parts for commercial machinery is to get the information from the broken part that you already have. You will not be able to find those parts under the brand name that's printed on the body of the unit. Like I said, they're parts bin machines. The problem with this one is when you plug it in, the sander just starts running. The on-off switch doesn't work, it just runs. So it definitely needs a switch. And when you turn the vacuum on, it just blows the fuse in the house. So clearly there's something wrong with the vacuum unit. But like I said earlier, the switches are just Carlin 125 volt 4-wire switches like this one right here. They're very easy to get a hold of. And the vacuum unit for this thing is just Lamb's standard 125 volt commercial vacuum unit. You can find these things in a lot of different places as well. This one was 75 bucks and I believe the switch was like 10 or something. Wasn't hard to find online. When this machine was purchased, it came with a catalog that included those two parts with their part numbers, as well as every other piece of this machine. If the owner lost that catalog, he could order that catalog from yet another catalog. There were a lot of catalogs back then. So let's pull it apart. I'm going to remove these 4 hex key machine screws that hold this vacuum body on this handle. Then I'm going to remove this plate back here so I can get to the switch. There we are. Now that that's done, I'm just going to open this up and pull the bags out of the way. This might take 2 fingers. There we go. The bags have to come out. You get that one out, and then there's another one in here under this ring that you have to pull out of the inside. There it is. Down in there is the face of the vacuum unit. Now I just need to flip this thing over and take out the 3 screws that hold that vacuum unit in place. Oh, I guess I better take this guard off first. My bad. I guess first I need to take these 2 wire nuts off and disconnect that one ground right there. Then I guess there's 4 of these little 8mm head bolts. And that guy's out of there. It looks pretty burnt up and the little bearing back here is completely wasted. It was definitely time to throw this thing away. Unfortunately, like with a lot of this commercial equipment, they didn't tap the mounting holes on this vacuum body. So I have to tap that for whatever bolts hold this thing in here. This looks like a 1032 machine screw thread. It's a really common thread. I'm sure I have a tap for it someplace. Let me go look. That looks right. Now I'm just going to tap that thing. This stuff's pretty soft. I think it's zinc die cast or something like that. Either way, it's pretty easy to deal with. I'll just run this in with a ratchet real quick. There we go. And I am spent. Beautiful. She's ready to go back together. Silly little guard goes on like that. Then this little piece of foam goes on here, something like that, with the wires on the right side of it, of course. 4 little machine screws, and then we just gotta hook these wires together. The white one and the black one attached to these 2 black ones. The green one goes to ground. That guard's on, she's plugged in. Let's see if it runs. Very nice. Now let's get after that sander switch. I'm just gonna pull this cover off here. Now before I mess with any of this wiring, you see that electric motor? It's got these little things on the side here. These are called capacitors. They're like little batteries that store voltage, and they will knock you on your backside. I definitely want to disconnect this from what I'm working on before I do anything. Do that when you have capacitors. Just spin the little nut off the switch right here and it'll pop out the back. This is pretty straightforward. Take the screws out, remove the wires, and reconnect them to this switch right here. Pretty simple. There we go. Let's put her back together, make sure all guards are on before we even try this thing out, but I'm pretty sure she's good. She's back in running condition and ready to be tested out. Now, just because they were nice enough to let me fix this thing so I could use it, I'm going to replace the bristle band down there on the bottom. I ordered one, but I don't have one. It'll function a lot better with a new bristle band. The vacuum will, it won't be as dusty. But my switches are in, let's try the buffer. Beautiful. And the vacuum? For the record, this isn't the floor I'm sanding. It's actually the curly maple in the living room. Let me show you what that looks like. That's this stuff right here. They call it curly maple because of this ribbon-like pattern in the grain. It's not easy to find these days. Most people would just put something over it, but I recognize it as a premium product, and that could bring the value of the house up, making it easier to sell and get the hell out of here.